So, as promised, let's return to that breaking news. President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has announced the launch of phase 2 of the plan to end the conflict in Gaza. Let's go straight to our correspondent in Jerusalem, John Donaldson. And John, tell us more.
Well, we've been waiting for this, Matthew. Phase 1, of course, was the release of the remaining hostages, dead and alive, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. That was some 3 months ago that we had the ceasefire come into force. Phase 2 is meant to involve the establishment of a technocratic government in Gaza, and we've had the names of the individuals who will form that government. They are members of Palestinian society from within Gaza. It's then, and this is where I think we might have some problems, meant to involve the full demilitarisation of Gaza, and that includes Hamas disarming, something they have so far not shown willing to do, and also it's meant to involve the withdrawal of Israeli troops, something Israel has not really said it's committed to either. It might pull back, but it's certainly not willing to give up territory which it has fully captured within Gaza.
And there was a clear warning midway through that statement from Steve Witkoff, where he says the US expects Hamas to comply fully with its obligations, not just the return of that final deceased hostage, but also the demilitarisation, the disarmament of that group. And that is a huge hurdle, isn't it?
It is, because they've said they're not willing to do that. They have said they are willing to not take part in this technocratic government, but they haven't said they're willing to disarm, and what Israel and the United States might do to pressure them to do so is not really clear. I should say we have had some sort of ceasefire in place for the last 3 months, but it's pretty fragile, and many would say it's not a ceasefire at all. More than 430 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes in the last 3 months. Occasionally Hamas will fire back, and all the while, I should stress, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is utterly bleak. We've had terrible weather here in the Middle East over the last week or so. Really, really heavy rain. It's cold. We've seen awful pictures from Gaza where you've got hundreds of thousands of people living in tents. Those tents are blowing away in heavy winds. There's flooding. It's pretty grim. So progress cannot come soon enough, certainly for the people of Gaza, but I would issue a word of caution because a lot of what Steve Witkoff had to say today was not all that clear.
You mentioned what has happened since the ceasefire. Is there anything that you're hearing, because I can't read it here, about how any sort of humanitarian effort is boosted? And also, what about the international stabilisation force that we've been hearing about? No mention of that either.
No mention of that, and possibly the reason why is, well, who's going to make up that force? If it's not Hamas, who have been the only real authority within Gaza at controlling the Gaza Strip, then who is going to provide policing and security? Now, over the past, year, more than a year, we've had talk of, will it be Arab countries, would it be Egypt, would it be Turkey, would it be some of the Gulf states sending in forces for a stabilisation force? But, anyone going in to do so on the back of Israeli tanks, if you like, is going to be seen as having cooperated too much with the Israelis. The other thing I should mention is, there are 3 levels of governance being proposed for Gaza. This is technocratic government that we've had the details of today. But then above that, there's this executive committee, which will be made up of foreigners, not Palestinians. They will oversee the work of the government. Now, some of the names mentioned for that: Tony Blair. I think also then above that, you've got Donald Trump's Board of Peace, of which he will be chairman of the board. Then there's talk that Keir Starmer could be part of that board, also the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. But many Palestinians will see that as a form of colonialism. They want to run their own affairs. But the truth is, I suppose, certainly Hamas and many Palestinians in Gaza, they don't have a choice. They've got to do it Donald Trump's way. But as I say, a lot remains pretty unclear.
John Donaldson live there in Jerusalem. Thanks for that update.